What up, boys and girls? It's another time for another Beers and Beards eSports edition with my main man over here, my main fling, my Boo Bear.
Yo, fam, it's me, Sleeping McGee, back at it again with the eSports.
I
Dropping hot rhymes in 2017. Now let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby. I literally said to you last night, "What?"
Don't fall asleep.
And what did you do?
I fell asleep. Dude, I had this nasty headache, and it felt like my eyeballs were going to pop out of my head. So I was like, all right, I'm going to lay down for like 20 minutes, and I'm going to set an alarm. And I set an alarm, and when I fell asleep, I woke up and I looked at my phone. I was like, my alarm never went off, and I had set it for like 7:30 a.m. the next morning, and I was like, oh shit, okay,
I'm just gonna start
so
calling you MC Fatigue.
that's me. Yeah,
Right.
that's me. Every time I grab the mic, I fucking fall asleep.
So we are officially. Thankfully, we had a day off today from the esports major, so we weren't gonna. We timed this perfectly, basically, because now we have a day. We can look at the playoff matchups. We can decide that, well, effectively, our picks weren't that great. They were okay, but let's look at it overall. I
I
got a
don't want
3
to.
and 0 team, correct?
No, I'm done here.
Your 3 and 0 team, one of them at
Neither
least.
of them. I
SK
picked
made the
Navi.
play. Yeah,
Oh no,
You picked
SK.
Envy and SK.
Is SK? Oh, they're 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
So
And of course, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. But you got anything you're drinking over there tonight?
water.
Oh, just
I'm
water.
too poor for beer.
Tomorrow's payday, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tonight I got the old favorite, Dirty Bastard. And then if I get through that during the show, I got my Bell's Porter. So I'm loaded up, ready to go. And of course, as you probably saw as I was hinting to you, well, you can't see the camera, but I got this amaretto
No,
just in
I don't.
case.
See the
Yeah, I
camera.
forget. I forget that you can't see it until you watch the thing. So let's jump into this. Below us in the display, there's some black space, obviously, but
I should probably see what you have laid out.
we have the left side of the bracket and the right side of the bracket laid out, in which I need to make a slight edit because apparently your stuff is bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it is.
So let's do that. This is called editing on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. It's what I do best. All right, so here we go.
I need a new webcam.
You do. On the left side of our screen, we have the left side of the bracket, which of course is Navi versus Stralis. And then on the bottom side of that bracket is Fnatic versus Gambit. On the right side, we have North. I'm pointing to the right side because it's on my other monitor here. North versus Virtus Pro and FaZe versus SK. So before we jump into these matchups, let's talk about some of the storylines heading into the playoffs now. Who expected Gambit to go 3-1? Raise your hand.
So I had this feeling before, like, when we were looking at everything and we were like setting our picks and everything. I was looking at Gambit and I was looking at their team lineup and their history, and I was like, well, they're undefeated in 2017 so far, and they have a really positive record. And I was like, maybe they'll do something. I was like, they're definitely, I don't know. But I didn't really choose them to win anything because I was like, nah.
I thought
But
there
I
was too
had
many
that
good teams.
feeling. Yeah.
Um, I didn't, I didn't, I had that feeling that they could have gone anywhere from 3-0 to 3-2. I didn't think they would go through 3-1, beating the teams that they did the way that they did. Not necessarily that they were dominant, but day one they come out, they beat North in a good fashion, 16-8. Let me adjust my seat here. Yeah, 16-8, really put it to North there. On day two, they come out, they pull Godsent, handle them pretty easily, 16-9. That's fair. You could expect that. Godsent, it was like up and down all tournament.
Hmm.
Day three, they come out, they pulled Virtus Pro, lost 16-10. That's a tough team. And then they handled business on day 4, which to go 3-1. They beat FaZe 16-14, which is was a close game. So they pull Fnatic, who we'll discuss as well here in a second. Let's discuss them now. That was honestly a little bit of a surprise for me. I kind of was leaning the way you went during your picks and picked Fnatic 0-3. I thought Fnatic would have won 1 or 2 at most. I did not expect them to go through and actually make this one.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't expect them to get as far as they did, because of everything that's going to go on with the whole merge of the players and everything.
Right. To which apparently Pronex came out and said exactly that's just rumors. But we'll see. So Fnatic day 1 lost to G2 16-10. Day 1 16-10. Day 2 they come out, they beat North 16-13, which obviously North made the playoffs. They were a quality team. They beat Mouse day 3 16-11. So now they're 2-1. And they come through and they do the dirty to Envy, your boys over there, and beat them 16-11.
That surprised me a lot, actually.
I thought that was going to go differently a little bit as well.
I mean, Envy wasn't playing super hot, but they weren't looking bad, and I don't know.
All right, so here's some stats real fast, since I don't have this just came up recently, like today. Somebody went through and put all the stats up while we're talking about Envy here. For the majors, this major between the G2 and Envy players, the top 6 players. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Tell me where you think they're going with this now. Number 1 was Kenny S. Rating wise and kill death ratio wise.
Because if he actually shows up, he plays good.
Yep. So Kenny S was number 1. Number 2 was Shocks.
Yep.
Number 3, RPK.
Yep.
Number 4, NBK.
Yep.
Number 5 is Body, and number 6 was Apex.
Really?
5 of those top 6 players minus RPK, where are they going apparently?
They're in the same team in the French Shuffle, yeah.
And then after Apex, it went Happy, Scream, Sixer, and Smiths. In that
Happy
order.
did better than Scream?
Yeah, I told you what Scream was gonna do, and he did exactly that. Except he didn't start off strong, but he went out quietly and proved that, I don't know if he was just I think he was frustrated with how everything that to me, if you told me you had to pick one, the French Shuffle or the Swedish Shuffle is going to happen, I'm going with this one, the French Shuffle.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of it he kind of knew, because they ended up like I said, they beat Fnatic 16-10 day 1. Day 2 they lose to Virtus Pro. That's fair. Mm-hmm. Day 3 Astralis stomps them 16-5, and then they lose to North 16-9, and then they were eliminated at that point. That was it. They went out quietly. They had a good game against Virtus Pro, losing 16-14, and then they just kind of never got back on pace.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah. So, none of the NA teams made it. Obviously, Optic really
Optic got shitty. They started out pretty good. Let's see.
They lost day 1 to Virtus Pro 16-13.
Yeah, but that's expected.
Yeah,
but that was a really close, really good match.
That was on Train, wasn't it?
That was Cobble. That was Cobble.
It was Cobble, which was a good map still. Day 2. They lost to Astralis 16-12. Another really good team. So they pulled 2 teams in a row.
Yeah.
Day 3, they beat
Flipside
16-13.
Yep.
Flipside was an 0-3 team. And then day 4.
And then they pulled Godsent, which just fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah. How did you feel about the Swiss model? Or what were you going to say about Optic?
Well, I was just going to say they pulled pretty much all the worst teams that you can pull in this whole bracket.
Yep.
To try and get through. Which, I mean, other than Flipside, which is the only match they won, they didn't stand a chance.
I mean,
when that
Godsent was a
happened.
game away, obviously, on literally an overtime away from making playoffs
Yeah.
because they
Yep.
lost to North in like one of the last matches, 1917. So they did their job. Like Godsent actually did pretty well. I actually they came up better than I thought they were going to. Um, but yeah, you faced two teams that were one of the favorites to win it in the first two games. You're
Hmm.
probably going to start 0-2 every time unless you are SK or Navi at this point.
Yep.
Um, any four of those teams would have at least any team would have gone 0-2. So it's not like it was a good thing. But overall, how did you like the Swiss format? I thought it was actually pretty cool.
Now, what do you mean by the Swiss format?
Because this was Swiss model. Like, it was the
Oh,
random
the
draw. So,
tournament
yeah,
style.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like it a lot actually. It gives teams a lot more of a chance to bounce back, and um, since it's not like basically single limbs or you like lose one game, then you go to lose a bracket, and then use that one, and then you're just gone.
Yep.
Uh,
I liked it better than the old style.
yeah, I absolutely did too. I think it's a more efficient way of seeing like which teams actually deserve to be in, the playoff rounds.
Yep. I still think all elimination matches should be best out of three.
Yeah.
Because
Well, so I think the after you weed out
the bad
like the
teams.
first three, when your teams first get eliminated, that's when you should start doing the three round,
So
like the best of three.
basically, I would have said then North and God sent best of three, FaZe Envy best of three, Team Liquid Astralis best of three.
Yep.
Even though Astralis kind of just said, "Hey, hang on, NA, you have a little bit of hope left. 1 second." There you go.
Yeah.
Right on them because they demolished Liquid,
Well,
16-3.
Astralis used to be at one point TSM, which was the best team in the world, and then they just sort of died off after they won a major.
Yep.
And I think now they're trying to build back to that momentum and that prestige and get their name back out there.
Yeah. Uh, I can see that for sure. But overall,
But yeah, they shit on Liquid pretty hard.
yeah, overall, NA it's up in the air. So the next minor qualifier, when that comes around, we're gonna have all the NA teams involved. So that'll be interesting and fun to watch.
Well, okay, hang on. So let me just read some things off for you on
Okay.
the Liquid Astralis match.
I'm not gonna say who I hope makes it or anything, but my shirt.
The person with the most kills is Hiko with 10.
Yep. And that kind of was gonna lead into my next point here is
Holy.
Elige. Other than that match,
Other than that match,
great tournament. He looked awesome. That
he was
first
killing it. Yeah.
that first match they did go to overtime with Envious. He ended up 48-33, and that is it's huge. Let me take a look at his ADR. I'm pulling up the stats right now. See if I can get that. Yeah, he finished with 111.1 ADR. The next closest person on his team was Hiko with 79, but the next closest person was 97 with NBK. So he beat like anybody ADR wise by 20, just about.
Yeah.
And that's against Envy, so he had a really good game there. And then the next game against Flipside, he went off again with 37-21. Next closest person was 26, and that was on the other team. With that was Markaloff. He finished with an ADR of 127.6. The next closest was at 93 again with Markaloff. So that's 34, right there in ADR. And then they played FaZe again in overtime. I don't remember how he did in this match, so let me pull up these stats exactly. He finished 24-30, which is it's all right. He was going to have a letdown somewhere. He had a 70.9 ADR there, and then against not against FaZe, but obviously with Astralis, that's nothing. But like he started really strong. He looked really good. It's just he couldn't keep playing at that level, and I don't blame him. His team didn't really, other than JDM, like one or two games, his team wasn't up there with them on par.
Right.
So I think there's a chance that we're going to see some changes on. We're going to have the North American Shuffle coming very soon. I know for sure. Like, I know Cloud9 is going to make changes. Obviously, the whole TSM thing that happened, like, all that team's gone. CLG, we don't know what they're going to do yet.
I haven't seen anything out of them in a long time.
Nope. We don't know what they're up to. Obviously, Liquid's going to make probably some changes as well because it's not like they were playing great before this major. And they did go 2-3, which was better than I expected them to do. I thought they weren't going to win a game. Thought they were just going to get snuffed out and thrown to the wayside. And I think you kind of followed that same suit as well.
Oh, so wait, here I'm reading reports. The new Cloud9 lineup's gonna be Nothing, Hiko, Semfish, Shongares. What?
What? Hang on,
What?
wait. Who's opting for him?
Oh wait. Oh shit! It's Shazam. God damn it!
Where's Skadoodle going?
In the garbage, apparently.
Yep. Oh, he finally got banned because you know what today is, right?
Is it Backwave Day?
It's 2 years to the day. Rest in
Oh,
gaming.
rest in peace.
Rest in peace, iPower. 2 years to the day that we lost iBuyPower. Free Brax.
Free skins for life.
Free skins for everybody today. So we have all that going on. Now let's talk about Virtus Pro here. They went 3-0. Did they sneak in it as a 3-0? Because I thought the plow never went into effect.
I didn't expect them to go 3-0. All of their matches have been pretty close.
Of course, you know I picked them to go 3-0.
I mean, I know you did.
But you're right. 16-3 over Optic, 16-14 over G2, and 16-10 over Gambit.
Yeah, they just sort of squeaked by on that.
They, like I said, they never hit that red button that says bowl over your opponents here, or the one that's accidentally some reason right next to it that says, oops, we accidentally did everything. They kind of just drove it forward and did their thing. Like they lost some anti-ecos. They kind of had some off rounds. Everybody carried their weight like when they needed to. So Virtus Pro got in as a 3-0 and a first seed on their side, but I think, in all honesty, if they had pulled anybody, if they had pulled Astralis, not even Astralis, I'm sorry, if they had pulled SK, FaZe, or Na'Vi in that second round, even Envy, I think, in day 2 instead of G2, they would have been a 3-1 at best.
Yeah.
They did their job. They didn't look great. I had them going all the way, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then, of course, Na'Vi, on the other hand,
they've been bowling through this tournament.
They destroyed Mouse 16-3.
Yep.
Day 2, Envious 16-6.
Yep.
Day 3, they said, "Oh, hi SK, bye SK." 16-3. They lost a total of 3, 6, 12 rounds.
Yeah.
12 rounds. They had the biggest differential of every team. Obviously, because they didn't play as many matches, but like when you win 16-3, 16-6, 16-3, you're bowling everybody over. You're literally just throwing everybody to the wayside, making this. It's like we both had Na'Vi and Virtus Pro going to the end.
Yeah.
But it's in the playoffs now.
It's still possible.
It's still possible.
Absolutely 100% still possible. Because I think Na'Vi can beat everyone that's in their bracket right now. And I think Virtus Pro can beat everyone in their bracket. Minus it's going to be trouble with SK. Because I think it'll be that playoff.
I think it's going to be a close one. It's interesting because they match 1 right off the bat. Just so you know, they're only playing 3 matches tomorrow. FaZe and SK is going to be on day 6, which is Saturday. So tomorrow, Na'Vi and Astralis are going to go at each other first. 10 a.m. So let's start with there. So tomorrow morning, first match, Na'Vi versus Astralis on the left side of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
What are the keys to victory you believe for Na'Vi? we'll talk about our picks in a second. We're gonna break down each team's chances, and then we'll say who do we think is gonna do it.
I think Navi just sort of needs to keep doing what they're doing, which is getting getting their frags, getting their picks, which seems to be between like Simple, Guardian, and Flamey have been like their top three performers.
Yep.
And I think as long as they keep working at other teams and just winning the 1v1s or the aim battles, I
Yep.
think they'll be fine.
They if they play the way they've been playing, they'll be all right. Um, more than I think this, it's gonna be a close series overall. Mainly Astralis. Astralis is here now. Astralis has to get over their issues. I think again, like you said, Navi, like between those three guys, if they can just take care of business, if they can just focus on the task at hand and realize like this is a big match, like to start the playoffs. Um, it's huge for both sides. I think if Simple, Guardian, and Flamey all show up, this will be pretty easy for them. But you never know, especially like you don't know what Seized is gonna do. Overall, it's again, if they just do what they've been doing with Edward and Seized, they'll be okay. As
Hmm.
well, for Astralis, their keys to victory are obviously going to be neutralizing the dynamic players for Navi. Because I mean, what other team honestly has three players like that? I mean, you could argue SK has Coldzera, Fallen, and Fur on a good day. Virtus Pro has, you know, Shocks, not Shocks, but Snacks, Pasha, and Taz. What? But I still think the dynamic three for us Navi is strong, and then they're the two bigger support players there, and Edward and God, why am I drawing blanks right now? You know who I'm talking about.
Seized.
Yeah, those guys are they're not just throwaway players. Anyways, they're good
No.
players. Um, but it's going to be interesting. We'll see what the maps shake out to be. I kind of wish that we had the picks going into it again, like I said last Sunday, so we know like these are the maps we're playing, so we could really like figure this out. I feel like Navi's map pool is deeper. They have a
Yep.
lot more hiding because they haven't played in 2 months, like anywhere. Like after that last tournament in November, they went into hiding,
Yeah.
and they've come out obviously strong. And I think that's what benefits teams if they get that slight off season instead of like having to kick players to keep moving. They get that slight break. They'll handle business like Navi has done. Astralis, they were a favorite going into this by a lot of people. So this is a tough knockout match right away. What do you think Astralis needs to do, and then who do you think is going to win?
Ooh, sorry. I think Astralis is gonna have to like pull out everything that they have in their arsenal.
Are we going to need a
Um,
pixel walk boost?
yeah, it's something. Because Navi's been strong. I mean, for those missing months, I'm sure they've just been boot camping and learning maps and nades, flashes, smokes, angles, all that stuff. So I think Astralis has to try to pull everything out and maybe not outshoot them because I don't think that's going to happen. I think they have to adapt to how Navi's playing and counteract that to actually win the match.
I agree with
But
that, but who do you think is going to win?
Navi, easy. I think it's going to be a 16-7.
Well, it's a best of three. Remember that.
And well, oh yeah, that's right.
I think it's
They're
going to
just
be
gonna, it's gonna be not even close, I don't think.
I think it's going to be a tough matchup either way. Like the scores might not indicate how the matchups truly go. It's going to be a fight because this is a tough game right off the bat for both teams. We had discussed like what would happen if one of these teams, like these top contenders, like pulled each other first. And realistically, both sides of the bracket, you have teams lined up like this. I think Navi and Astralis has a somewhat easier side. Obviously, you can't discredit Fnatic, and Gambit has proven some things here. What'll be interesting, I think Navi's going to win too. I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory, but it's going to be a hard fought victory. I think it's going to come down to an overtime map somewhere in one of those two. But before we break down this next matchup, if Navi and Gambit wins, you have to remember Zeus is on Gambit, and he was the guy that Navi kicked off. So that could be an interesting matchup going into that next one. So the next one, which is kind of like the outcry, it seems, for most people, the Gambit versus Fnatic matchup. Some people seem like it's unfair that Astralis and Navi have to face each other, as well as like North and Virtus Pro and SK and FaZe even. All heavy-hitting teams are going to face each other while you have these two teams that people are considering cupcakes right there.
Right.
Because, again, we heard the rumors days before about the switch, Flusha and JW probably going back and joining those Fnatic guys. So you kind of thought like those guys may have just all done the same thing and just kind of tanked like G2 kind of did. Gambit is a team of like cast-offs. They are like FaZe 2.0. Like FaZe is a team of cast-offs built all around. Gambit's kind of built the same way, but for whatever reason, it worked for Gambit. They went 3-1. Like I said, they only had really one tough draw, and that, I mean, they pulled Virtus Pro in their that 2-0 versus 2-0 matchup, and they had a good match with Virtus Pro. Meanwhile, Fnatic pulled NV. Like I said, had a good match there. They pulled beat Mouse, and they pulled North, and they beat North as well as they pulled G2, who they lost to. That was their only loss up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams had like a challenge thrown at them. And they also had both of them kind of had a letdown match in a way, even though what was I going to say? I'm so lost right now. Even though Gambit pulled Virtus Pro, it was still a letdown that they lost that like that. I think it's simple. This is a toss-up. This is going to be a good matchup. For Fnatic to win, obviously the two best players need to do their business, and that's Olaf and Crims.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis will have to pull his weight since he's supposed to be one of the guys staying, so he has to prove it. But you have guys like Disco Doppelin and Twist who want to prove that they can still do work here. So I think it's really going to come down to how Olaf and Crims play for Fnatic to pull this one out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Gambit, I hadn't really heard of. I mean, I knew they existed, but I hadn't really looked into it like before. But they have some big players, and it's sort of just like a mashup of a team.
Yeah, I mean, you got Adren, Doja, Zeus, Mao, and Hobbit. Hobbit's like their only rookie on this thing. Every other team's made it this far before, but on different teams.
Yep.
It is, like I said, it's FaZe 2.0. It's just a mashup of players thrown together that it's working. For Gambit to win it, they have to just play what they've done, and that's a complete team game. I don't think they're probably the least sexiest team in this part right now. Just because like you have all these other teams that have players on them, they're like, yep, those guys they have more star power. These guys have more star power, and definitely already like Fnatic has more star power alone in Crims and Olaf. Gambit doesn't have that, but what Gambit does have is a complete team that can play together and do their job.
Yep. I don't know. I think it's gonna be close. I want to root for the underdog, in my eyes, which is Gambit, because Fnatic has those two big players, Olaf and Crims.
Yep.
But I don't think it's going to be very one-sided, unless like for some reason Fnatic just shows up and they just destroy people.
We're at that point where Olaf was the best player in the world before he got hurt or went off for surgery.
Yep.
And it's not like he's not up to that level, but he has been playing strong still.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're now where all the chips are down. Like this is it for them. Experience alone, not just like experience of team players being to a major. Like Gambit has. All four of their other five players have been to majors.
Mm-hmm.
But experience of guys like Crims and Olaf will carry, I believe, Fnatic to the victory. It'll be a 2-1 victory. They will go the distance. It'll be a great series of CS for everybody to watch. I think Fnatic will take it just because they have guys who have been all the way multiple times and know what they're doing more than Gambit does. If Gambit does not blow this team up and they just keep working and doing what they're doing, they will be their next major ready to go. Kind of like North is working towards.
Mm-hmm.
So my pick is on Fnatic.
I'm gonna go with the underdogs, which is Gambit. I also think it's gonna be a 2-1. It's gonna be really fought, like hard fought and close matchup, but I fucking hate Fnatic, so I'm gonna go with Gambit.
Okay.
Just because Doja's on there and he used to play for Hellraisers, and they my boys.
Rip. So for that, then you have Na'Vi versus Gambit, and I have Na'Vi versus Fnatic. Do you think Gambit stands a chance against Na'Vi?
Absolutely not.
So is it safe to say you're sticking to your Na'Vi pick here?
Yes.
I kind of feel the same way. I think Na'Vi will beat Fnatic. I think their overall star core players are better than what Fnatic has to offer still. If this was a Fnatic team that included JW and Flusha, and this was still a Fnatic team that was playing well, I would really want to think about picking Fnatic. But this isn't that team. This is a different Fnatic than anyone's used to.
Yep.
However, this is a Na'Vi team that is kind of the same way, but is handling and doing what they were kind of expected to do from the beginning with this lineup. They're taking care of business. There's no reason that Na'Vi shouldn't win. It'll be another one of those matchups that could go like a complete blowout, or it's going to be another tight matchup either way, because we'll see how Na'Vi handles it when they get there. But I think Na'Vi from the right side of it is going to go to the finals still. I mean, from the left side there, I don't unless Astralis knocks them off, which it could happen, but I don't see Astralis beating Na'Vi. And I think Na'Vi will be one of the grand finalists.
Mm-hmm.
For the right side of our bracket, underneath you on our screens, the first matchup is going to be Virtus.pro versus North. These are both teams in the sense that they kind of underperformed in their own ways. Again, Virtus.pro went 3-0. They still underperformed. North was expected to not skid the way they did through the major, but here we are. They're here, and it took overtime to get them here, obviously, in one of the last matches of the tournament. But they got here, and they what do you think the keys to victory are for North? Like, what do they need to do?
I don't think they have. I'm not going to say they. So I haven't really been able to see North play at all this tournament. So I honestly have no idea. But looking at their matchups and how they have been, I just don't think they stand a chance against Virtus.pro. I just think they're going to get destroyed.
I kind of agree. A lot of their luck, because I mean, they barely beat Hellraisers. They went to overtime with Hellraisers too, and I know you don't consider Hellraisers a knockover, but they kind of are.
Oh yeah, no, they're not a great team at all. I want them to be good.
A lot of their luck's gonna ride on Magic's, and what he's capable of doing. If he can play like he has most of this tournament and help, they will handle that. That's their key to victory. It's up to him. I mean, like, you got Cajun B over there, you got Config, you got guys. Yeah, I mean, you got Rubino and MSL. You've got guys on this team that are all capable players in their own right, but a lot of their luck seems to ride on if Magix is playing or if he's not. He's had a big tournament. I'm not going to take away from Cajun B or Config. They've both had good runs as well. But this is like I kind of agree with you. It's not saying that they don't have a way they can win. I think it looks bleak. I think this is probably the easiest matchup to pick as long as Virtus Pro doesn't accidentally hit that button next to the plow, which is the
Yeah.
throw.
I mean,
They'll
Virtus
be okay.
Pro and Astralis both are known to throw in uh, playoff stages. So
Well, I mean, it's always come down to again. Uh, Virtus Pro, the last two majors were eliminated by SK, who of course went on to win
yep.
those majors. But they are very capable. I think this will be a match where they just win and they keep moving through. It'll 2-0 Virtus Pro.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
100%.
I don't really care what the maps are. It's 2-0 Virtus Pro. I mean, they could do whatever they want to do. So which leads us to our next matchup, which is another heavy hitting matchup in FaZe versus SK. And believe it or not, these two played already. They played day 2, which SK beat FaZe on Mirage. Why? They let Mirage go through again against SK, but they lost to them in overtime 19-17. Both teams split their halves, 9 and 6 on, both sides. Both teams actually had better T sides than CT sides on a more CT sided map in Mirage. But again, they took SK on one of their best maps to the brink, and we're getting a somewhat rematch now. So, with that said, what do you think FaZe has to do to win this? Excuse me, I burped.
It's sort of, I'm sort of in the same boat with FaZe as I am with North. I haven't seen a whole lot of their gameplay recently. But they have some strong players. You have Alu, you have Kerrigan, Kiyoshima. I think
They have AZ and Rain as well.
yeah, AZ and Rain are also pretty good.
It's another team of cast-offs, honestly. Put Michael Ealy on that team, and that's like the
Yeah.
perfect fucking. We couldn't make our team. Like I think Simple will end up on this team eventually.
They're a really strong team, but I don't think they're like super top contenders yet. It would take it it would take for them to win SK not showing up.
I kind of agree in the sense that I think it's going to matter what map pool FaZe gets.
Yep.
FaZe is a good Mirage team map, especially their T side. However, SK from the very, very beginning when they hit the scene as Key Stars, Mirage was their map. Every time a team, especially in best of ones, I don't know why teams let Mirage through because that's their specialty. Like, why would you want to go? That's like saying you have to drink one of these two items. Here's some water, here's some bleach. I'd like to drink the bleach, please. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you force yourself into a situation where like, are they just expecting, like, this is it, man. We've prepared for them on Mirage. Meanwhile, SK's like, all right, cool, great. Oh, hey, ask Liquid how that went for them.
Right. I don't know. It should be first ban, Absolutely. You shouldn't let it go through.
I agree. So I think
If a team specialized, like back in the day, you didn't play Fnatic on Cobblestone. Like you just didn't.
You didn't play NIP on Inferno, and you didn't play Virtus Pro on Nuke.
Yeah,
because you were
just
gonna
don't do those
you were
things.
gonna get
Yeah.
wrecked. So I think that's part of it. Like they need to get the right maps in there. I think if it comes down to they can get Mirage out of there, they can get Cobble out. And
I think if they can get Dust 2 to play, they might stand a chance.
Dust 2 and Train are the maps they need.
Yeah.
I think they can handle SK on those levels. And now for SK, again, it's the same thing for me. They have to be the right maps. If they get a Mirage and a Cobble, they'll be okay. Even on Cash, they'll still get through. It's going to come down to their big players doing what they got to do and Fallen and Coldzera. If those guys both play the game as well as Fur, they play the game that they're supposed to play, they're gonna take care of work. But I think FaZe is right now the better overall, stronger team play wise than SK is, because obviously they have had their issues. In fact, they're playing with a player that's technically a stand-in, even though I believe he's joining the team. But it's not the same SK as it's been the last two times. I think it still goes to SK in a great matchup. It's going to be a 2-1 bloodbath all the way through.
Yeah, I can see that.
Either team could probably walk out of this, but I'm going to go with SK just because four of those players have already been here two times in a row.
Yep.
Which will set us up for the staple of now all majors, Virtus Pro versus SK. And I think the keys to victory are going to come down to, again, it's going to be sorry, Shade messaged me.
That bitch?
Yeah. So, it's going to come down to what maps get through, and overall, I think Virtus Pro is going to win that one. This is Virtus Pro's. They're going to get over this hump. Like, it's going to be a good matchup still, but this is the time that they do it.
Yeah. I think Virtus Pro is going to win out of this bracket. It won't be easy, and I think it's going to be some tough matchups, but I think it's time for them to shine in this tournament.
And now, of course, we're still on course for our picks right now, I think. We both have Na'Vi and Virtus Pro coming to the end.
Yep.
Like we said all the way through. So our teams that got us here were slightly different, but our teams that we wanted to get here are both here, in our opinion. Shade says, what beers? I have this Dirty Bastard. And,
I have none.
Which I finished, and then I don't know where I put my other bottle. I have a porter. Oh, here it is. The Bell's Porter. The light's washing it out, but that's what I am drinking. So I think we're going to come right back down to where we started, what we've all said, like what you and I said at least, Virtus Pro versus Na'Vi. And yep. I have a little bit of a different thought right now. Okay. You already beat me to it, didn't you?
Yep. Don't worry about it.
All right. What's going on out there, boys?
C-Drag, Shade.
Yeah.
What it do, fam? But yeah, it's still on course for that original pick.
Based on
think it will keep going that way.
Based on what we've had so far. Yeah, we don't play games, Z-Drag. Based on what I've seen so far, my heart still lies with Virtus Pro. But we'll see how the playoffs shake out completely. I think this will be still a great matchup. I think this will go the distance. I kind of wish it was a best of 5 so we could see that glory of what this should be. But as of right now, I don't realistically, based on what we've seen. Yeah, cash me outside. How about that? I don't see Na'Vi really losing if they keep form.
Yeah, me either. I don't see Na'Vi or Virtus Pro losing. I mean, they're the only two teams to be 3-0 right now, and it's well deserved. They're playing strong. They're going hard.
Yep, well, that's what I'm saying. Now we get down to this matchup here. If both teams carry their form the way they have, again, it's Virtus Pro on land in a key moment, but we also have Na'Vi. Yes, that's what we're talking about, Z-Drag. We also have Na'Vi, who is plowed through everybody. They're the ones that apparently stole the plow for Virtus Plow and have used it, while Virtus Pro has just been coasting again. Not like coasting, but like they could be saving plays, they could be saving strats. Who knows? I really want my heart to keep going with the Virtus Pro pick. But I just don't realistically see a way, if they keep playing this way, that Na'Vi won't beat them.
Yeah. I still think Na'Vi will get the edge over them in the end. Virtus Pro is a strong team, but I think they play too reckless in a sense, um, in their save rounds and buy rounds, and just like they have a really aggressive play style. And I think against Navi, where you have an opera like Guardian,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just their players in general, I think they're more of like a slow play type team, more analytical, and I think they'll be able to get the edge over them.
I think I think Navi. It's going to come down to again map choices and overall, um, what shakes out for the teams. I really do believe that Navi probably will win this. I'm sticking with my Virtus Pro pick because I have to at this
Oh
point.
yeah, absolutely.
I can't abandon my boys now, but I think Virtus Pro Navi is going to be a great matchup. This is like since this I believe it's televised on TBS. Excuse me, which it should be. Um, it's going to be a great matchup. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, like the whole show. So we'll be able to talk a little bit about it that night.
You know what's wonderful is I'll be at work
On
for everything.
Sunday?
Oh, Sunday. I thought you were talking about the matchups tomorrow.
No.
I'll
Well,
be
yeah,
at
the
work
matchups tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I'll be at work tomorrow too, and then Saturday I'll be at work for part of them.
I'll be able to watch them on Saturday if I'm
Uh,
not sleeping.
yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's still going to come down to Navi Virtus Pro. There's nothing really here that changes it. I mean, like both teams have matchups in their way that could put them off to the side again. Navi Astralis right away. Excuse me. Navi and Astralis right away is a tough matchup.
Hmm.
But the only issue is on the same side. This is where Virtus Pro might not benefit. SK and FaZe play that day. They're the first matchup Saturday. Then it's the winner of Navi Astralis and Fnatic and versus Gambit. Then it's the winner of Virtus Pro and North versus the winner of FaZe and SK. So one of those two teams are going to play twice that day, and literally 5 hours apart. Yeah, I mean it seems like a distance, but everybody knows like anybody that's played this game knows like you could sit down, play for a few hours, like 2-3 hours, take a few hour break, come back, and just keep rolling. So it depends, especially like with the adrenaline flowing, and like Virtus Pro is going to have time to watch, but SK and V and FaZe are both going to be watching the day before, and they get more time to study film on the winner of Virtus Pro and North and know like, okay, let's take this map out, let's take this map out, let's play this map. They look pretty weak here, they look pretty weak here, while they still have to
Hmm.
focus on the other team they have to play. So that'll be an interesting setup, and to see how they play with that. So I think that'll be a toss-up in there. Plus, both those teams could give Virtus Pro a run for their money, especially SK. SK has done it in the past, so we'll see how everything shakes out. But I think it's going to go. How's it going, Becca Love? I still think it's going to go the way of Virtus Pro no matter what.
I mean, you're really sticking to that Virtus Pro pick, huh?
I have to.
Yeah, I guess. I guess you do.
Yeah, there really isn't anything it's going to sway my picks here, just because Navi, the way they handled every team they faced to get here. Yeah, I mean, like again, they didn't have the toughest of matchups. Their hardest matchup was probably against Envy, and well, they played SK too, but the way they handled SK, I'm not worried about them. They I mean, they even played them on Dust too, and they just stomped them. So that's
Hmm.
basically it. I think this is Navi's technically to lose, even though I'm still going with Virtus Pro. Um, and that's it. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think TBS and all those guys are going to be happy to see that we get probably a really strong matchup then. So, is there anything else you would like to add?
I think at the last minute, as soon as Navi is about to win, Cloud9's gonna jump the stage with steel chairs, and it's gonna turn into a WWE brawl, and they're gonna throw them off, and then they're just gonna play the last round and win,
Is this
and
the
then they're
fucking
gonna be
Royal
the
Rumble?
champions. Yep.
Is Donald Trump going to sign something, an executive order that says Cloud9? Oh, we can get Donald Trump to unban iBuyPower.
Donald Trump's not gonna unban iBuyPower.
I think he will.
I mean, he'll sign anything that they put in front of him, but
All right, let's not get into politics, but so next week we're going to talk about the end of the major. Obviously, we'll talk about how our final picks went, and officially next week we will have our third member joining us, with Shadow, who is our mod during the regular shows. He will be joining us to talk other esports. Like, he's going to be our main League of Legends guy for us. And I know there's this little thing called the NALCS going on right now. No big deal, right?
nope.
So there's been that happened, as well as we'll talk a little bit about the overall state of esports and how things are going and where we think things can keep going, and we'll talk about latest news. I mean, we're probably not going to. We all have the For Honor beta, but
I played it. I played it some earlier today.
How did you like it?
Uh, it's a lot different than. Okay, so it kind of just reminds me of like if you were playing Dark Souls PvP, but with good netcode. Like that's exactly what it reminds me of,
Fair
sort
enough.
of.
I'll probably be playing it in a little bit or tomorrow. So next week we'll do a show, and then this might be a thing that we do every other week, just because we might do for the next few weeks, because I imagine right after the major's over, like there's going to be shakeups coming left and right, and rumors of shakeups for CS:GO alone. But with that, like I said, we're going to be covering most of the esports that we feel is possible. We're not going to cover the Madden shit. We're not going to cover NBA, other than maybe to poke fun and wonder why they have such prize pools. We're probably going to dabble a little bit with Dota 2 and League of Legends for sure. And that's one that I know I've been talking with Shadow and trying to get a little more caught up in. Even if I don't play the game, I'm trying to make sure that if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So, we'll see everybody next week. We're Go Virtus Pro.
No.
Go Virtus Pro.
They won't win.
They're gonna win. You know they're gonna win.
No, that's what you.
They're going to win.
Little do you know, it's going to be Gambit that wins.
You know, I'll be happy if Gambit wins.
I would be too.
All right, so let's sign this off and go play some games. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds great. I could use a Monster Energy drink.
Oh,
Sponsored by Monster.
all right. Again, you can join us this Sunday. We will actually be doing a real show this Sunday. For really real.
Are we?
For really real. For
Are we
really
though?
real. Even if it's just you and me, Josh.
I don't know.
So we'll see everybody on Sunday. Have a good one, and
Don't forget to follow us on all of our shit.
Yeah, where can they follow us?
I'm not going to read off the whole big normal list, but follow us on Twitter at BeersandBeards9. Follow our Facebook page. We have a beer advocate. Check that out. We upload the beers that we're drinking weekly. And that's basically like all the big ones. Send us an email with any recommendations that you have for the show, any topics that you want us to discuss. Shit like that. Fuck me, I'm tired. All right, let's sign this out.
All right, buddy. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you Sunday.
Deuces.